We are live. Hi friends, welcome to this is our very first Substack Live. I'm Robin.
I'm Emma. Hi.
I got a little tickle in the throat. And for those of you who know my Substack, it's called Shit I Learned from My Crappy Childhood. And at my Substack that we tell stories that are or we, that's like me and my multiple
Yeah,
personalities,
yeah, all of you.
that are fun, they're funny, they're also filled with tips about how to be maybe just a little bit happier, a little bit lighter. I talk about maybe budgeting tips or self-help tips or how to ask for that promotion without sounding like an ingrate. And I also tie it all back to my crappy childhood, as you guessed by the name of the Substack.
That's such a good name. Should I
I
learn
mean,
from
I
my
feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. The moment you launched, I was like, oh, she's so good at this. That's my husband Luke. He's joined us. Hi, Luke. What a good husband. Major husband points. I'm
Yeah,
Emma
my wife's not
and
joining, so yeah.
okay, yeah, so we won. Um I'm really happy to be here with you, Robin. And okay, so Robin and I know each other through my
Wait,
wonderful
tell everybody
cousin.
about your Substack
Well,
first,
I'm
for
getting there.
God's sake.
We know each
Okay,
other
sorry.
through I'm saying how we know each other first.
Okay.
So we know each other through my cousin Jennifer, and Jennifer connected us because I was interviewed and my two moms were interviewed by Robin. You know all this, Robin, but for your listeners, we were interviewed as a family for Robin's book, If These Ovaries Could Talk. And that's how we met. And then I've been on Substack since July 2021, if you can believe. And my Substack is called emmatattenbaumfine.substack.com, which is my name. And I write essays and stories, poems. And then you joined Substack,
I
Robin.
did.
And now
Well,
you've got me
not
doing
without
Substack
calling
Live.
you first. And first
Yeah.
of all, I like loved what you were up to. Like I loved, like I think I love how you write as like your memoir type writings. But then I also think you experiment with such interesting and different things. Like you did something recently that was like kind of like part memoir, but like part futuristic, and you did one that was like all sound based. Like I'm enamored with the work that you were doing. So I was like, we gotta, so like I immediately called you and was like, how do I do this Substack thing?
Yeah,
And
proudest day of my life. Robin called and was like, "Tell me about Substack." And I got to be the one to pitch to you why you should do Substack, which just was so exciting because you should be on Substack and now you are, and now you've gotten me doing Substack Live. So it's really a full circle moment for us.
I think there's a lot of people that wish that we hadn't connected that are like, enough already, Robin.
It's a lot with both of us. It's a lot. But you're
We
welcome.
do love to chat, the two of us.
Yeah.
Um, well, so speaking of, I was like, like I saw somebody in my network, the podcast newsletter, Lauren Pessell, who's like amazing, and I saw her do like a live, and I was like, okay, we got to do this, and so I just called you, and we were like, okay, what are we talking about? And immediately we were like, okay, we're going to be probably be talking about health and wellness and stuff, and then we were thinking like this coming Friday is World Mental Health Day, I believe. And we were like, obviously, we're talking about women's issues
Yes, because mental
we're
health,
ladies.
women, what's more important to us?
I mean, really. And then like I was standing in front of the Planet Fitness, ye old Planet Fitness,
Mhm.
and we were talking about what we should talk about. And you brought up perimenopause and menopause.
Yes, it's been well, I'm turning 40 in a month, and so the algorithm knows that, and I'm getting aggressively served ads for all kinds of perimenopause related services, trackers, Ozempic, like I'm just getting targeted relentlessly. And I also listened to the Peter Attia podcast recently with Rachel Rubin on it, who is what's it called, urologist. There's just been I don't it's a mix of the algorithm and my own interest and my age.
Yeah.
I have just been really, really like everywhere I go, there's menopause related information, which is wild because
I mean,
there didn't
just
used
a
to be
couple of
anything.
years ago,
Right.
just a couple of years ago, no one was saying that out loud. Like when I
Right.
started Perry. So it is like encouraging on the one hand, but overwhelming on the other.
And that's kind of the paradox that we have arrived at, just to tee up our conversation, that
Well
there
done.
used to be no information. Now there's way too much, which is a little, it's a little aggro. Like what do all these tech people want from my age group exactly? And I had this suspicion that this would happen, that millennials would be like, hell no, we're not interested in going into a field where there's no research and we're not served because we're used to getting everything given to us. And that stereotype is, I think, a little true. So we're expecting that. And so sure enough, the need is being met with
Yeah.
a lot, but some of it is disinformation. And so where are
Well,
you at?
some of it is like famous people being like, I'm gonna put my marker on menopause and I'm gonna be the brave one to do it.
Yeah.
And I applaud that, but also like doesn't come without Naomi Watts being like, and take my vitamins. You know,
Right, it's just hard,
so there's a
it's
lot.
disingenuous, and at the same time, like, the medical, infrastructure, is, like, collapsing with, Trump talking about Tylenol and autism or some nonsense, so it's like, it's very hard to know what is real, and what
Hmm.
is just to make money,
Yep.
and obviously the manosphere is having its own version of this problem, but the womanosphere is also having a version of that problem, and I'm the guinea pig
Yeah.
who's gonna find out what that is.
Well, in this conversation, you said something that I thought was really great. You were saying like, I'm approaching it from like, when are you advocating for yourself, and when should one just like let things go? And I was like immediately like, because I was like, oh, this is like I always call it like new G OG kind of conversation. Like I'm the OG because I believe now I'm postmenopausal. It's like it's so weird. It's like you're almost never menopausal. It's like
Right.
as soon as you go the 1 year, like you're peri, and then all of a sudden you're just post. And it's like, wait, what happened?
Well, because
Um,
these labels, these discrete labels, that's not the
Stupid.
way life
Yeah, they're
is.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was immediately like, oh no. I was like, no, 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 no. Like you like this is so much worse than, and it was like probably not helpful at all. I was like, this is so much worse than you think it's gonna be. And you gotta run down every possible thing to make your life better because it's so bad.
And that's the kind of preparation that
Which by the
I'm.
way, not helpful.
No, it's
Sorry.
not helpful. I mean, it's better to have. Look, I'm already terrified, so that's not your fault. I'm interested in getting all the information, and my general approach to mental health has been do everything. So, like, yes, Prozac, yes, therapy, yes, running, yes, getting a lot of sleep, yes, eating well, hydrating. Like, you got to do see your friends,
Hmm.
like, clean your house. The amount of things you have to do just to have a baseline level of functioning. At least for me, I mean, I'm assuming menopause is gonna be like that too, so I'm fully prepared to throw everything at the problem. I wanna win menopause, Robin. I wanna be so ready. What
Ah,
could go wrong, right?
yeah.
Um,
I'm like this. Oh.
I know. So, but okay, so crush my dreams. Tell me, first
Well,
of
yeah,
all,
let's
yeah.
go ahead. You go. Because I was going to say, let's start with like, you were like, well, as you were saying that, you were like, I mean, maybe is it okay to feel some sadness? And I was saying, like, two things, like, one important thing happened for me. I think whatever it is that you is your like go to emotion or processing thing, like mine is anger.
Mhm,
Like, well, usually shit's going on when I'm really pissed off. And I did not understand until, I mean, I could have been 2 years into Perry. And I live with a woman who had already gone through menopause, and I did not get it because, we're different people. Like, she just got, like, sleepy and just couldn't sleep, or just kind of became more maybe introverted or whatever, and she was already introverted, and I just was it reminded me of pregnancy, and that's when I first started to piece it together because with pregnancy, I could sleep 11 hours and wake up and be like, "Jesus Christ, I'm so tired."
yeah,
And that's how Perry started for me, was that. But in addition to that,
yeah,
I would wake up. Now, listen, maybe I didn't have a bad dream. I went to bed. I had a nice night's sleep. I slept. I woke up and I wanted to burn the fucking house down. I was like, I'm going to murder someone. I'm going to be mean to everyone in my path. And I don't know why.
yeah.
And I can't stop it. It's funny because I was going through that as my daughter was beginning to get her period. And I think we both looked like loose cannons. Although I think I was 100 times worse than her.
Yeah, I do think it's worse. It seems like menopause is a lot worse than well, puberty is pretty bad too. I mean, the whole thing is terrible. Being alive is very hard. I mean, it's honestly great that we're doing really well at it. But so when my mom when she started menopause was my first period. When Margie hit menopause was
Yeah.
I mean, like spooky, like a handoff, like literally like a relay. Um, so okay, so when you had that rage, initially you didn't know what it was. I imagine that was a lot worse than when you were able to pinpoint what it was. Because the worst thing is to have a symptom and not know that it's a symptom. And just think it's a
Well, I think it's even worse than that, that I didn't even understand it was a symptom. I think I just thought, like, I'm overwhelmed as a parent.
yeah.
Life is hard. And it wasn't until I was like I had a case of just like I'd be like, what are we doing here? Like what's the point and why? Like does any of this matter? It wasn't until I was started saying things like that that I was like, something's not okay here. And but I mean, it was years of me
Yeah.
just thinking, I was like, maybe I've got seasonal depression. I was like, maybe I was like, and it was only when I started to say things like, maybe I'm depressed. I was saying things, Emma, I swear to Christ, like I was saying things like, I, I think I used to be fun. Wasn't I fun? Like I was fun. I was like, but I'm not fun now. And it didn't, I wish it's such a subtle, at least for
Right.
me, it's such a subtle shift. And there's so many other things going on around this time, like your
Yeah.
body's starting to break down, and like all these other things are happening, and life's life.
Well, I
So,
think the
I mean,
subtlety is
I
the
missed it.
confusion because you can't
Yes.
separate out. If you just lived in a bubble and you could say, "Oh, this is different. I have changed," and if nothing else had changed in your life and it was just you were aging, you could say, "Well, this must be perimenopause." But because it was also aligning with your kids being a certain age and with the chaos of whatever, it's impossible to separate out. And I think that's one of the reasons people miss it. I also have a friend who's been depressed and just realized, "Oh, this might be perimenopause," but
Yes.
she has a million
Because
other things going on. So you
that's
can't
right.
you can't really parse it out. But my hope, what I do think will be different, and you can hear I'm like,
You're already
uh,
hedging your bets. You're already
I
hedging
know,
your
and
bets.
I'm already annoying myself with whatever my whole personality. But the thing is that I'm hoping will where you could have had more support, which you are now giving me, is the first moment I have those because I already have certain things. I do like to sleep a lot more than I used to. Like that has changed.
Yeah.
I've had moments of rage that are brand new for me. Probably helpful actually.
Yeah.
And warranted. There's a lot to be angry about, but there are subtle shifts and it's better to err on what's happening now is millennials are erring on the side of it's perimenopause versus gaslighting themselves and being like, "Didn't I used to be happy?"
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, like I feel bad because I feel like I should have known because my wife went through it before me. And PS, I get the award for the worst wife ever because I was just like, but you can't sleep. I was like, take some black cohosh. That's what they're saying online. I was like, do you want the? I mean, I literally fucking went out and bought her that like Midol or whatever that shit is.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I could that is not helpful.
So
And
you were the patriarchy in your
I
lesbian
was the
household.
patriarchy. I was like,
Yeah.
you're really inconveniencing with me with all this talk about lack of sleep. But I think in hindsight, what is, I think, unique in a two-woman relationship is she was mirroring something for me that I did not want to think about yet.
Yeah.
I did not want to think about because I think there is a real, like, I work in a business where youth and age matters, especially for women. Not for guys. They become Pierce Brosnan and get all salty and like
Yeah.
cuter and Hugh Jackman, but not for women. Then you can become the judge or maybe some like old lady in a hospital bed or
Or
somebody's
the
mother.
groundskeeper that you auditioned
Yeah,
to play.
but which I didn't get that part. But so I feel like I wish that I had been better for her,
Yeah.
but I think that I wish that I had gone to my OB earlier
Yeah.
because now I'm a big proponent of like, go get your hormone levels tested, do all that, see if that is what's going on.
Right.
You know, I don't know if you remember a couple years back, there was this huge New York Times piece that came out about menopause and women and their health.
Yeah.
And the doctor that they were speaking with was from my OB's practice. And
Wow.
so I went
Celebrity.
in, yeah, right. I went in, it wasn't my doctor, but it was someone in there. And I went in to my OB who I love. She like delivered my daughter. She helped name my daughter because
Wow.
we were going to name her Ruby. And she was like, meh. She was like, I've named a lot of rubies. And we were like, Maxine? And she was like, love it. And I was like, okay. So, so
Wow.
that's how my daughter had her name, but she's fantastic. But I went in and I was just like, and I immediately started crying. I was like, I think I'm being really mean to people. I fucking hate everyone. And then she goes, let's get you on some hormones. And I was just like, is that okay now? Are we okay to do that? Because also
Yeah.
leading up to that Times article was all that news that you shouldn't. breast cancer, all these things are
Yeah,
going to
and
happen.
okay, so this is another one of these major contradictions. I mean, I'm so glad you got the information. I went to my PCP and I said, I listened to this podcast, right? And you could see her eyes glaze over because
She was like, ah.
it's the doctor's nightmare. I was like, oh, I must be the sixth woman to come in today and be like, I listened to a podcast. So, and she's like, I went to medical school.
I'm diagnosing myself.
Yeah, I could tell. I could just see the compassion fatigue just like come over her face. But she said, what she said about HRT in general, she was like, you just see what your symptoms are. Don't just like jump on something because the internet told you to, which is like great advice in general.
Sure.
But she said, like, find out, do the risk benefit analysis. She didn't use that word, but that's a doctory term. So I'm
Yeah.
using it. Do the risk benefit analysis and like decide based on symptoms if that's something that you need to do, which is a little different than some of the internet information I was getting, which was like, do it right now. And that study from the 90s was wrong. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and that's the thing is like they're like, I don't know, some other study came out recently and it was just like, well, if you don't have breast cancer, like, or then you could increase endometrial. And if you don't do this, it
yeah,
increases that. And it was like, it felt like it was just like the
you're
only
just
way
always,
to win was if you didn't have a uterus and were taking estrogen. And I
yeah.
was just like, "Ooh,"
You just like
and
pick which cancer you're most scared of and try to rule out that one and then get the other cancer. You're just
well,
picking which cancer.
and this dials back to like your initial question of like, do we tough this out? What are we supposed to do? And there was a real part of me that was like, I like, what is my quality of life? The fact
Mhm.
that I'm taking walks by myself and saying things to myself like, didn't I used to be fun? Like if I took 6 months off of a not fun life, is that a bad thing? It's like I do think everyone has to, and we are not doctors, but that's our disclaimer. I just
Right,
did it.
right.
I
I
did
mean,
it
my
at the
desk is in my kitchen, which is also my living room. So
I'm
just,
in my bedroom with some kind of a web thing on the back of my chair that spins. We're
yeah.
not doctors.
Well, the spinning
Um,
chair is fairly official. Okay, but continue.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But but I do think like that is a really important distinction of like looking at your own health, looking at, and just doing a deep dive and then finding people you trust. Because I didn't understand when we first started this that like they hadn't previously even tested on women.
I know.
Like, so
It
it's like the
honestly,
medical
yeah.
complex was like, and there was this whole just kind of like, well, that's as a woman, that's what you do. That's what you live with, and you got to go through it. But like, how many women suffered for how long? I don't
Well,
even
so this is
understand.
where it's like there's the personal element of what is the quality of life that I want to have and what do I want to do with my one wild and precious life, blah, blah, blah. There's that. And then there's the mass tragedy of all the women who haven't had these issues addressed and the cost, just the amazing, horrifying cost of how many people have struggled with menopause.
Yeah,
Because it is a very real um even in just the small thing of being slightly depressed or feeling like I used to be fun or like I just don't have confidence, even if it's just confidence. The lack of women in their 50s with full confidence is a loss to the whole planet. So if
yeah,
we could get this sorted out, this is like, I mean, among so many other problems, but this is like actually a very significant, it's personal and it's also political and it's global.
yeah. Well, and I was going to say that like there's the emotion side of things, but then there's also the real physical things that come,
Yeah.
like how your body shifts and where weight manifests itself, like right in the stomach. And it's like I'm like I had to do this really dumb. I'm not going to say the client name because it was a job I booked, but like it was I had to pretend to be a patient. Let's just say
Okay.
that, and I had to go out and buy a dress. Emma, when I stood in the dressing room, I put this one dress on and it was so bad that I couldn't even be upset. Like I was like I was laughing so hard because my body looked like it was like I have chicken legs and there's just this like absolute tire around my midsection and then the top of me. It reminded me of there was this old Carol Burnett sketch where she was talking about how much she loved ding dongs. She was like eating them and she was under a table and it was you were like, what's so bad about her eating all the ding dongs? And then as the camera goes like that, she stands up and her entire ass is so big that it just crashes the table. And it's like she's so out of proportion. That's what I looked like in the dressing room. And I
Wow.
think
Uh,
I think that maybe fully grasping that that's coming. Like, I don't know if you can do things differently in the gym or what you can do, but just can we fat sculpt? I don't, are we cool sculpturing? I don't know what I could do differently, but maybe just have the solidarity of it, of understanding that like I'm not alone in the dressing room with my very weird shape now that I'm hiding in giant sweatshirts.
Wow. I mean, I'm so glad
I
you
feel
took the
like I'm
time
just
to
going to make
just
everybody sad.
no, no, first of all, you took the time to really paint the Carol Burnett sketch, and that was so valuable because otherwise I wouldn't have fully understood, and so I'm really glad you
Oh,
dedicated the real estate to that. This brings me to what you wrote about on Substack that sort of spurred this conversation, your doctor's appointment about weight, because the solidarity you're talking about is the understanding that this isn't like, some sort of moral failing, like, you didn't do
oh
something
yeah.
different, because I know, I mean, I
He absolutely shamed me. He absolutely shamed me.
yeah.
I mean, I went in like, and also just for full disclosure for anyone who hasn't read that piece, it was kind of like about my doctor. Like, I was last year, at the end of last year, diagnosed with celiac, and since going gluten free, like, and and it's like I've been in menopause for a couple of years, so I have had a weight gain, and I can't figure it out. And I went in, and he was pretty much just like, I couldn't even finish the sentence before he was just like, "You're fat." And you're not doing a calorie burn, and you're not, and I was like, listen, bud, I got like a good old fashioned like overeaters, issue here. I know how to lose weight and I know how to gain weight. Something isn't right, something is
Yeah.
different. And I don't know if it is or isn't, because I left there, like, I started crying and screaming at him because it was so bad.
I'm hoping that with, all these GLP-1s, it will start to shift I mean, obviously, it's creating just a whole shift in every way. I'm hoping it starts to create a new conversation around weight, because people do seem to be waking up to the fact that, um, there is food noise, which was a term that didn't even, I mean, I'd never heard that until a couple of years ago, and that the concept of, like, willpower isn't really it, because suddenly all these people who couldn't lose weight are losing weight, so it's gonna shift the conversation.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are
Yeah.
good and bad things about it, but it's disappointing that someone, this year in 2025 wouldn't understand that hormones play some kind of role, and that you
Well,
wouldn't
and
trust you with
even
that.
after I said to him, "Hold on," I was like, I am eating well. I am doing this," and he was
Yeah.
just like, "Well, you're not doing it well enough. Like, you're that 1,400 calories isn't a burn, and 3 miles a day walking is not enough." And I was like, "You can," like, I mean, I was so angry with him. How,
1,400 oh my god, I would eat, yeah, I'd be
yeah,
angry.
But
That's very
and
low.
what stinks about it is what I don't wanna do is I don't wanna be the lesbian who's like, "Fuck men doctors," because I think
Right.
there can be many men doctors who can be compassionate, who can be, I think for me, it was a real, and I think going into menopause, this would be something I would impart to you, is make sure the team around you,
Yeah.
I already knew he sucked,
Yeah.
because if he did something similar to Mary. And
Yeah.
so it puts like, God, it's so hard to find a new doctor. So, but like, I would say, make sure you've got a team around you that you believe in, that is compassionate, that will hear
Yes.
you when you speak,
That is on
because
all
it's
the
critical.
podcasts. That is definitely, like, I have heard that takeaway before, so I just wanna uplift that for anyone listening. Make sure your team is good. I do have to work on that. That's important. I mean, you're not the first person to mention it, and I think, the fact that you had that intuition prior is, like, that's another way to have maybe smoothed your path, so I
Yeah.
definitely take that in.
Well, and the other bit I would say too is like, there's you know, like, there's some things you can do things about, but HRT, hormone replacement therapy, for those who are, don't understand what that is, I would say look into that, but nothing is a magic bullet.
Right.
We went this summer, we went to, I mean, the magic bullet I have is the neck fan that goes around my
Yeah.
neck, which I got from your cousin Jennifer Tanba.
Yeah.
Um, that is the only thing that helps me. But we went to the Caribbean this summer, and I don't know if I've ever gone to the Caribbean in the summer. However, not that much hotter than going in December. And when I tell you, I swept my way from one end of Club Med to the other the whole time. I was just like, we would go back and I would shower. And by the time we got to dinner, I was just like, I looked like flop sweaty, like I just came out of the shower. And I was like, why am I even showering? I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, I was in the pool all day. Fuck it. I look horrible. But I woke up yesterday morning, the day before, and my entire shirt was soaking wet. And I'm on estrogen. I'm on estrogen. And I don't get the hot flashes is bad, but it's right now, there's no magic bullet. I hope that by the time my daughter is here, like they've studied women. That's because that's the
Yeah.
whole underneath for me, us having this conversation,
Yes.
is I hope when my daughter gets here, it's better. I hope that they understand women's health and what
Yeah.
should be done, what shouldn't be done, and there's a path so that women don't have to suffer in this way. Like it's one thing to like, I mean, I suffered through pregnancy, just I didn't like it, but you got a baby at the end.
Right,
And
right, and
this,
you know it's finite. You know
yeah,
exactly how long it's gonna be. That's
and
pretty
this is
different.
you just get apron belly. Like that's not a baby, and I don't want it.
Yeah. Ugh,
And don't
yeah.
look up apron belly. Don't
No,
look
no,
it up.
I
It's
already know what it is, it's in all it's in photos. I've seen
very
it.
disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just taking all this in.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, and I feel like this is a good because I think like I'm not gonna lie. This is how
No,
I
I
was
don't
with
want you to lie.
pregnancy. Like I was just like, this is your butt's, like your butt's gonna do weird things, and you're gonna be like backed up, and you're gonna can't sleep, and
I
something
mean,
sitting
the
on your
lack
bladder.
of research thing is it it's going to change. And
Has to.
the way I know it's gonna change is money. People, they
There's
love
money.
money.
There's money in it now.
There's money in it. And even though that's it's not because people are altruistic, it's because there's a lot of money in helping people through menopause. I know because I'm getting all the ads.
Yeah.
So the thing is you
And
need
because
to
the
be
famous people are making the supplements.
the
There's money.
famous
There's
people are
money.
making the supplements, but I honestly I trust capitalism to take care of this because it is truly a void. And the fact that every person goes into it with this kind of like DIY approach, like you're on estrogen, it's not really working. Then you're wondering, like, is it working a little? Could I
Add a
do
little
more?
more progesterone. Take your
Yeah,
progesterone down. Up
and
the
it's
yeah.
not like just us doing that. I talked to the doctor about my just general hormonal swings throughout my period, and she mapped it out and said, "Oh, well, we were making stuff up together." Like she gave me an
Mhm.
answer, but it was ultimately it was alchemical. I was like, "Oh, wow, that's like a cauldron. Like this is not a real thing." And it's because nobody really knows anything, and the internet makes it sound like everybody knows things because science isn't pithy and fun and silly. It's like takes a long time and there are these long studies and they're boring and they use big words and nobody's got time for that.
If it's not
So
in People magazine, I don't want it.
exactly. So there's a lot of money to be made, which I think is going to be great. By the time your daughter rolls around, hopefully even for me, it's gonna be good. The problem though is the onus is on the consumer to know a lot of
Yeah.
stuff because
Yeah.
it's not clear right now what's real. And
It
there's
reminds
still
me of like when you hear people talk about going on like meds for like, trying to find the right cocktail of like bupropion,
yeah,
like Wellbutrin or Lexapro, and like being like, what you'll hear one person be like, Lexapro didn't work for me, but I switched over to Wellbutrin and now I feel great.
yeah.
It reminds me a little of that, at least the stage.
I
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
but I want to say I feel like I've really represented the older crusty woman, and
You're
as
not
we're like,
crusty, you're
I'm
vibrant and beautiful.
oh, as we're nearing the end of this conversation, which we could talk about this for 17 hours, I want to
Okay.
ask you, as the new G, as someone's walking into it, what do you feel like you need from whether it be an old crusty person like me or from the world and the industry? And like, what are you scared of? What do you like?
That's a great
What?
question. It's a big
Yeah.
question. In our little bit of time, I know that I need a good team and that I gotta get on that. I know that I need to keep listening to audiobooks, podcasts, and just like surround myself with good, real medical information. Fortunately, I like doing that. So that's good. Um, I know that I need to have sharp critical thinking skills and see through a bunch of internet nonsense. That's something important that I need to continue to cultivate that skill. And I think it's good to educate my husband who is on this Substack Live now and have him understand what's coming and what's perhaps arrived a little bit.
I
And
feel like
yeah,
I should make a TED talk for all the husbands and like
yeah,
younger
yeah, yeah.
lesbian partners about don't do what I did.
The
Be
husbands and
more
younger
supportive.
lesbian
Yeah.
partners. I love that
Yeah.
demographic.
Yeah. That's my TEDx talk.
Oh, I would abs a lot of people would attend that. That's very needed. This is very necessary.
Well, I I don't know if we solved anything today,
Oh, we
but
solved it. It's been
did
solved.
we fix, I feel like we
We
fixed the
fixed it.
universe. I'm gonna take it back. But I do think it is like, even though I'm so aware, like you said, that we are being inundated with the conversation, I'm so happy people are having the conversation because even just starting to talk about it, I feel so much less shame than when I started. When I first, I was like, oh, am I gonna say I'm in menopause? Because there was a real attachment to, I'm going into some other phase in my life that I didn't necessarily ask to or want to.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel old, and it makes me feel like start thinking about how much time do I have left. And I was very resistant. And I think in talking, it's taking some of the shame away. I felt that same way about being gay. I had to talk about it in order to get rid of my own internalized like homophobia. And I feel that way about, I've got internalized menopausophobia.
Yeah.
It's like just talking about it is helpful. And I do hope that maybe it helps somebody catch it. God, like if I hadn't been quite so mean for quite so long, it would have been nice if I was a little
If you
for my
could have
family.
just one less time saying to yourself, walking in the park, I used to be fun, right?
God damn, I was fun. I know I was fun in college and the years after. Like people wanted me to come out. Not
Yeah.
so much
I
anymore. Now
always want you to come out. You should come to my
oh,
birthday party. Well, I'll send you the invite later. November
if
14th.
it's after 9 and my bra is off, I'm not coming,
No,
Emma,
no,
but
we're doing it
maybe.
early. I know my
Okay.
demographic. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
It's gonna
Okay.
be early. Don't worry.
I could be available then. Well, this has been so absolutely lovely. And I think, I mean, initially we wanted to talk about body image, how we all feel about our bodies and inner bodies, because you have such a unique perspective being raised by two women and their body issues. And we've talked about it a little bit, and we
Yeah.
want to definitely have a conversation. So I think we got to come back and do this again. What do you
Yeah,
think?
that's a great tease because I think that this body image conversation and I think sexuality and body image, I mean, just like I
Mm,
have very specific thoughts around queer family things and body image. I mean,
yeah,
that's a bookmark. I can't even. There's so much to say.
so much.
Yeah,
That'll be the extended remix conversation.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I want to say, for folks who have not signed up for Emma's Substack, you got to get it. You really do, because it is. I just I think you're doing. I'm so impressed by your writing. Like I think you have a way of bringing emotion and story together. But I love all the experimenting you're doing. I love I love it. And I'm like all the time being like, I love this one, so just I keep going, and everybody subscribe to Emma's Substack. You have to. You
Oh
just
my
gotta.
God, Robin, I'm blushing. That's so
Okay.
sweet.
Stop. Keep
Um,
it going.
and
Stop.
all of my readers, please subscribe to Robin Substack. Shit I learned from my crappy childhood, and also all your audio work. You're doing like, did you win
I
that
mean,
thing?
I'm in too many places. I'm overexposed.
You're a
Like
little
I'm in all the
overexposed,
places no one asked me to be.
but Headspace, that's really
Yeah.
exciting. And I
Yeah.
actually think I learned about Headspace from you. Um, so where,
Yeah, I hope Dear Headspace comes back. Dear
yeah,
Headspace was definitely, it was like me and a meditation teacher, and there's 100 episodes of it out there. So if you get a chance, but we take questions from people in the community, and it was like me and a meditation teacher and a coach, and it was like a based off of like a late night call-in show, and we had
yeah.
so much fun doing it. And after every episode, I just flew out to LA and did a live one for like a corporate gig, but
Oh
like my
wow.
shoulders dropped down just like hearing them talk, and just being in that conversation. I find so helpful, just being around people who are like reminding you to fucking meditate. Cause it's like I left to
That's
my own
important.
devices, I'm like, I gotta do more. Like
No, the amount of screen addiction is it's crazy. So if you meditate, you're like, you got to get on another plane. We can't have everyone just fully addicted to their screens. But also well adjusting. Did you win that thing? I voted for you. What
I
happened?
we're up. But if anybody's watching this right now, go to Well Adjusting or go to the Signal Awards. It's like vote. Just go to the Signal Awards
Signal
page and
Awards.
look for money and finance, and you'll see Well Adjusting and vote for us. Right now, we're beating a dude from the White House and Nerd Wallet. We're up by a good 6%. It closes on tomorrow, so we might win the listener's choice.
Oh my
There's a
God.
silver and a gold and the listener's choice, and I to be an independent podcast and to be up against the man, and if we win, I want to be so I mean, that's going to be a big one for me, just
Yeah, up
because.
against NerdWallet. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
really, yeah, this is
And I
exciting.
reference NerdWallet all the time in our episodes. Anytime we talk about money, I'm always like, go to NerdWallet. So maybe I'll make them come on while adjusting. But
Oh,
anyway,
you should.
I've
Yeah.
got all the things. It's probably too much. It's fine. You don't have to watch anything or listen. It's fine. I'm like the worst promoter ever. I'm like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You can probably get it
Well,
elsewhere.
I think it's great you're doing all these things. And I mean that's really that's a great thing, right? Because you're in menopause and you're doing so much cool stuff. I mean, I feel like we buried the lead here. You do amazing things while dealing with all this sweat.
While yelling at my family.
Yes, that's inspiring. You're so inspiring.
You too can still sweat and get work done. And I don't, and I do think it's like, remember
That's the slogan.
that campaign for young LGBTQ youth, and it gets better. I do think it gets better, and it's going to get better. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not right now, but it's only going to get better for everyone who has to go through it. So
It gets
let's,
better, and while you're in it, you can sweat and do amazing things. It's a
and you are
long
not
haul.
alone. You are not alone, and I think
Not
that's
alone.
important. So I thank you everyone for coming. This was such a fun experiment. I'm glad we did this, Emma.
We did it, Robin. So
All right,
cool.
maybe next month we're talking about my chub. I let's can't wait to talk more about that in my
Apron belly
midsection.
time.
Apron belly for the win. All right, thank you everybody.
Bye.